Youth, this phase of life, is where we have enough strength and enough energy. This is the time. We don't have enough time. We must take advantage of the time given to us. Use the energy necessary to achieve our goals to change the world. Change our world and change the world of others positively. These were the words of Captain Ibrahim Traore, the President of the Republic of Burkina Faso, addressing the youth of Burkina Faso during the Youth Day celebration in Ouagadougou. In this video, we bring you a summary English report of his full speech during this celebration, in which he addressed Africa in its entirety. Stay tuned, as there's a lot of wisdom for you to draw from his speech. Remember to share and like this video so that it can reach as many Africans as possible. In his opening remarks, Captain Ibrahim Traore welcomed the youth from across the 13 regions of Burkina Faso and other African youth from other African countries, notably from the Alliance of the Sahel states. As a God-fearing leader who puts his men first, Ibrahim Traore opened his speech by asking the congregations to have a word of prayer for the gallant soldiers of Burkina Faso, who were fighting on different fronts for the existence of Burkina Faso, and the soldiers who had fallen defending the country. Captain Traore reminded the youth of Burkina Faso to always remember God even during good times. Without hesitation, Captain Ibrahim Traore urged the youth of Burkina Faso and Africa at large to maximize their potential when they have the opportunity and the ability to create the positive change for the continent. In his words, he said, "Youth, this phase of life is where we have enough strength and enough energy. We don't have enough time. We must take advantage of the time given to us. Use the energy necessary to achieve our goals to change the world. Change our world and change the world of others positively." President Traore wondered why Africa, that has the most youthful population, was underdeveloped, yet the so-called developed countries were looking to rejuvenate their populations for development. Referring to the theme of the celebration that focused on security and integration, Captain Traore urged the youth of Africa to unite to achieve positive change of the continent. In his words, he said, "Are youth an asset or a handicap for the development of nations? The answer is simple and unequivocal. And as you know, most developed countries have an aging population, and currently, many countries have launched programs to rejuvenate their population. Africa is lucky to have a very young population, but why is Africa not developed? We should therefore look into the question of understanding why Africa has a young population, yet it is not developed, while the countries which call themselves developed seek to rejuvenate their population." Captain Traore lashed out at African Union for being a union of words, not action. As he said, "In reality, we will not be able to talk about integration in the theme and not talk about the African Union, because it is this organization that should unite us and create integration. But we regret to see these wars which persist on the African continent, which are killing millions of young people, and that this organization, which has the heads of state with armies, cannot organize itself to support certain countries. Union is not just a word. A union is a symbol, and we young people should learn a lesson from this situation to unite to make integration a reality." Traore wondered why Ethiopia housed the seat of the African Union, but with numerous unsolved conflicts. He also questioned how children had died for decades in the Congo, without any single intervention from the African Union. So is the case with Sudan. He further wondered why for over 10 years, the Sahel region has been a den of international terrorism, yet no African organization had come up with a lasting solution. Captain Traore further lashed out at African Union for failing to condemn actions of Ukraine after the country boasted to have planned and facilitated an ambush on Malayan troops in the past weeks. In his words, he said, "Worse, a few days ago, a country foreign to Africa openly announced that it had supported and participated in a cowardly terrorist and barbaric attack against the forces of our confederation in Tinzawatten. The African Union has not spoken a single word to condemn this interference in the internal affairs of our states and this rant. I would like them to hear it and therefore come out of their silence and take action, so that young people can believe in the Union. Traore urged the African youth to unite and work jointly to understand each other's problems, and, truthfully, find a solution to the problems. He called upon the youth to stay away from cowardice and move Africa forward. He said, "Africa, we must unite. We must unite. And the only way to unite is to and understand each other. And to be able to lay the foundations of this unity, there are 3 words that we must banish from our behavior and our life. I am talking about cowardice, treachery, and incompetence." Speaking with heartbreaking determination, Captain Traore said to the youth, "We must banish these 3 words from our way of life. I'm going to explain to you why cowardice covers many vices. A coward is always afraid, and when we are afraid, we become slaves, we bend, and we lick the boots. We have not been cowards, and if we are cowards, our children will ask us questions. Imagine that in Burkina we refuse to fight, and we agree to submit to live in slavery. Tomorrow, our children will grow up. They will ask questions like, were our parents cowards to leave us in slavery? Whether we are alive or dead, we will feel it." He further highlighted to the youth to distance themselves from listening to story of how the past revolutionary leaders in Africa were killed, and their visions brought short, saying these were tactics the imperialists were using to kill the zeal of African youth. He spoke in his words, "They do everything to make us afraid. They come to our palaces to threaten us directly or through veiled threats. Of course, we respond as required. They try to make us understand what they want. They give examples each time. They tell us things like, do you know Thomas Sankara? He tried to do like that, but where is he? He died. The Haitian president, he tried to do like that. Where is he now? He died. Gaddafi tried like that. Where is he? He died." These are remarks that are made to us in a veiled way to scare us. Captain Traore trashed all these examples, which were being used to intimidate the leaders and the youth of Sahel state, saying the mission for the liberation of Burkina Faso and the sister Sahel states would continue without any dot of fear. He said, "I think they didn't understand something when we say the fatherland. We mean it. We will conquer. It's not just a sentence, it has its full meaning. We are not afraid and we will never be afraid." Captain Traore urged African youth to follow the example set by the leaders of the Alliance of the Sahel state and never allow history to judge them on the wrong side. He said many old African guards had misunderstood them when they make remarks calling upon them to wake up and down the future for the youth in their countries. He called upon the youth not to just look on, because the old guards will be happy to find them in corridors. Traore also challenged African leaders to always own their mistakes without fear, because African people and peace-loving people who are willing to listen and forgive. He spoke, "I would like to say that the African peoples are the most peaceful peoples. When you recognize a wrong, we must tell the people. They should not be afraid as leaders tomorrow to come out and tell the people. We apologize, we had been compromised. We have made a lot of mistakes. We have been squeezed by many things, and we ask for forgiveness and then get back on track and start working really for the independence of our states." Traore urged the youth to emulate their ancestors who had fought hard for the existence of Africa today with our cowardice. Citing the struggles of the people of Cameroon, where the French army deployed helicopters and infantries to wipe villages of the Bamil and Bassa people. But the African ancestors stood strong no matter the situations. He said, "The most inhuman tortures took place in this time. Period. You can do research on what they call the swing or the baka. Hundreds of thousands of populations were decimated in Africa because they dared to ask the colonists to leave their land. It resulted in a civil war which lasted several years. But people dared to confront the imperialists with their bare hands so that we are there today. I see no reason why we cannot confront the imperialists so that the generations to come may have many examples across Africa of courageous men who refused to be cowardly, who fought, who faced it, and well, let's be worthy of these people. We are their descendants, and let's be worthy of them. A coward cannot be worthy. Let's not be cowards, African youth, because a coward is always a traitor. Captain Traore lectured the youth and African leaders on how potential African leaders like Patrice Lumumba were betrayed because they stood up against oppression. And later, the same Belgians who had assassinated him came to interview Africans who were saying Lumumba was disturbing them, leaving Congo the way it is now. He said all these were treachery tactics of scaring the African youth from rising above their potential, calling upon African youth to avoid diversionary information. In his words, he said, "I'll give you an example. Social networks are the places where information is published today. People get information through the internet, and many times, a young person who publishes on social networks an article about his farm or an agricultural project or a scientific project, I am young, I know the terms. He will not perhaps have 1,000 views. But a young person who publishes on trivialities, what I call nonsense anything, it has millions of views." Traore urged African youth not to waste time on internet accessing diversionary information, acknowledging that having fun was good, but the African youth needed to seek more knowledge and work first for the better of the continent. In his closing remarks, he urged the youth to take some days of reflection of his speech and prayed to God once again to bless and rain down the spirit on unity on the youth of Burkina Faso and Africa at large. Having listened to his speech, I have been touched and surely seeking to unite with the youth all over Africa. If you feel touched by this speech, leave a like, share the video, and comment on how best we can begin uniting as African youth. Thank you for watching and hoping to see you in the next video. Long live Ibrahim Traore, long live Burkina Faso, long live Sahel states, long live Africa.